Hey everybody, welcome to another USS Cuchulain's Exos log. Well, it's been almost a week now since we've seen the first two episodes of Discovery, and I just wanted to give my own review and thoughts on that. Before I do, last Tuesday was the 35th anniversary of the first screening of Star Trek The Wrath of Khan. Arguably the best movie of all of the Star Trek movies. Although for me, it's a tie really between Wrath of Khan and Undiscovered Country, with First Contact coming in third. But anyway, it's definitely one of the best. And we went along to the Lighthouse Cinema in Smithfield for a big screening presentation, and it was great to see it on the big screen again. They played the director's cut, which I hadn't seen in years and had forgotten how many nice cool scenes they had added to it. Compared to Undiscovered Country, which I feel the director's cut, the added scenes actually take away from the movie. Just don't think they work. In Wrath of Khan they did. So I might have to actually pick that one up. I just have the theatrical version myself at the moment on DVD. So I think a director's cut of a Blu-ray and Blu-ray would definitely be a purchase for me in the near future. But anyway, it was great. A few of us turned up in uniform, and it was a cinema was sold out. Actually, the screening was sold out for, which was great to see. So that interest is still there, and the Lighthouse Cinema is a great venue. I think we might actually have to look at that for some of our movie nights. Although for our next one, Blade Runner, I think we'll have to do that in the IMAX. But the Lighthouse is definitely a cool venue, and we'll be back there again for sure. But anyway, that was a great night. But Discovery, I loved it. I know it's divisive for some, but I thought it was great. It didn't disappoint me at all. I went in with high expectations, and for me, they were met. The story, we didn't even get to see the story really. We saw a prologue to the story, so you can only really judge the story in those two episodes. And I thought they gelled together very well, and it was a great introduction to the main character of Michael Burnham, played brilliantly by Sonia there, and it was a great way to establish her character for going into the storyline itself. So we haven't even seen the majority of the main cast or the Discovery herself. We'll see that now. For you guys in the States, you'll see it tonight, and for the rest of us, it'll be tomorrow night. But yeah, I have no complaints. I thought the visuals were fantastic. I thought there's a few elephants in the room, so let's get them out there. I love the Klingon look. There's a lot of people going on they changed too much, they don't look anything like they did before. It's not a great look for them. I think it's the best look they've had so far. They've changed over the years, and they've changed over different seasons and series, and so I don't get the reaction to the fact that they've changed again. They look more menacing, they look more alien, and it's a great look. You look at the ones in the past, don't get me wrong, they look great, but you get that sense of a guy with a headpiece, not with the new look. The new look, they look just totally alien. And I love the bit there where you see you got a quick brief glimpse of the fact that there's different races of Klingons, and they all look slightly different. The ridges are slightly different, so it establishes the fact that this is a huge empire, and you've got different classes, different races of Klingons within that, and they all have their own maybe identity, look and belief system. So yeah, for me, that worked perfectly. Another elephant in the room is the technology and how advanced it looks in comparison to the original series, and the Cage, which is Discovery set 10 years before that. And again, I can't agree with those who say, it looks too futuristic, it looks too, it's too advanced for the time period that it's set in. You've got to it's a science fiction show, and it's a science fiction show that was made in 2017, not in the 1960s. You've got to suspend your sense of disbelief, which you have to enter anyway for any sci-fi show. And they've done a great job, I think, of trying to merge the two without using cardboard sets and sets that just would look so dated and so out of place in this time frame that it just would not work. And but you look at the props, like the phasers, the rifles, some of the sounds. I think they've captured the essence of what went before without being held back by it. And they've done a terrific job there. So I've no complaints on that score either. There's also been some comments about casting. The fact that the lead is a black female, and the captain of the Shenzhou was also an Asian female. And I'm not going to comment much on that except to say those arguments are ridiculous. Star Trek is all about diversity. It has been from the very beginning. And why wouldn't they have female captains, Asian captains, black female captains, or first officers? And to think otherwise is just beyond stupid. So that's just my first hello. That's the only thing I'm going to say about that. That's what Star Trek is all about. So they're continuing the history of that franchise. So well done there. It's exciting though, because the prologue and how it sets up the Klingon conflict, something I've always wanted to see, and now I'm going to get a chance to see it. Was done very well. And yet we still don't know what's happening. By the end of the prologue, you say, oh, okay, what I assumed was going to happen obviously isn't. So, yeah, we still have to see where they're going with this, and we still have to see the main cast, the majority of them, and the Discovery herself, which we'll get to see this weekend. So I'm really looking forward to that. Story-wise, I thought they did very well. They established her character, they established her background, and they established the setting. It is darker than what's gone before, but we're living in darker times, and Star Trek has always reflected the time it was made in. From the very beginning, Star Trek was a social commentary in space of what was going on around us, and I think they're following that tradition. So again, kudos to them for that. Yeah, it's I highly recommend it. I thought they did a fantastic job all around. Casting, brilliant. Special effects, the visuals are cinematic. You could put that on a big screen in a cinema and it wouldn't look out of place. So fantastic. You can see, they're getting $7-8 million an episode. You can see where every dollar is being spent in costuming and special effects and makeup, all of it. So, it's very well done. And again, I would highly recommend it. I don't actually have any negatives that I could put towards it. I know a lot of people do, but I think the silent majority of fans who have watched this have a lot of positive feelings towards it. Yes, there may be some reservations about some aspects of it, but it's just too soon to establish exactly what they're going to do. It's something that's going to develop over time. It's a serialized series, one story being told through an entire season. So we've a lot to discover, we've a lot to find out about it, and it's going to be exciting to see it unfold. I've always enjoyed it for myself, shows that have an ongoing story arc. As much as I love TNG and I love the original series, they're episodic. You can just hit the reset button at the end of an episode and start again from scratch. Which is a great escape venue, so you don't have to tie yourself down to anything that you've done before, which is fine. But when you do a show that has an ongoing story, then you get to do real character development, real establishment of that world and what takes place in it. Obviously Game of Thrones being the most current fantastic example of that, but I could go back to the 90s and Babylon 5, and really for Americans particularly, the first sci-fi show to go down that route. And for me, Babylon 5 is still one of the finest pieces of science fiction ever put to screen. The story, it was made in the early 90s and it had a fraction of the budget of Star Trek, say Next Generation or DS9, which was airing around the same time. And let's not get into the whole B5 DS9 thing, because yeah, B5 came first. But it had a fraction of their budget, but what they were able to do with that, by using CGI and being one of the first shows to do it and being at the birth of that particular style of special effects, it holds up very well. And if you haven't seen it, I'd highly recommend it. Story-wise, it's just fantastic. And I'm delighted that we have a Star Trek show that is going down the same path. DS9 did a lot of that, particularly when it got into the Dominion War. And for me, I loved that about DS9. For me, I think that's one of the reasons why it's one of the best shows from all of the Star Trek catalogue, shall we say. Because they got to tell an ongoing story over a period of time that just is so solid. If you go back and look at it now, you can just really revel in the way that story unfolded and how it ended. And I really feel that we're going to get the same now with Discovery. That we have an ongoing storyline. That it's just going to be a great experience to watch it unfold episode by episode. And while it's sometimes, the trend now, particularly with Netflix, is you get a whole series and you can just binge watch. It's been a while since there's been that excitement of, I can't wait for the next episode. And I think it's going to be like that with Discovery. And a lot of people compare Discovery and The Orville. I think they're completely different. I quite enjoyed The Orville. I only watched a couple of episodes. It didn't really grab me. I think the humour in it is just a little bit off-centre, and it's a bit of a light imitation of Star Trek. But that has room for improvement. But for me, it will always be the lesser show. I love the direction that Discovery is taking with their serialized storytelling, darker tones, reflection of the times we're living in, and I have high hopes for it. So yeah, that's my review on Discovery. If you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend it. It's I know you guys in America, you have to pay a little extra for CBS All Access to follow it, and we have to pay extra for Netflix to get it here. So I think it's worth it. Definitely, I think it's going to be one of the finest series of Star Trek we'll have on screen, and but you need to give it time. It is an ongoing story. It will take time to evolve, and it will take time to unveil all of its secrets. So a lot of the questions and a lot of the criticisms that are being made without really giving it a chance to answer those questions. And we seem to have just lost patience in letting a story tell what it has to tell. We seem to need to want to know everything now, and because we don't have answers to our questions, some of us are very critical, but you seem to have missed the magic of having to wait to see something like this unfold, wait to get your answers questioned, and maybe think about them, reflect on them, and see what kind of ideas you come up with, and are you correct when it actually comes to fruition. You see exactly where they were going. So I would say to you guys, give it time, let the story unfold. Don't keep questioning everything and say, oh, that's ridiculous, that's not going to work. Why is Burnham's character the half sister of Spock? How come he never mentioned her? And he never mentioned Cyborg either before we saw him in Star Trek 5. So nothing unusual there. Precedent had already been set. So yeah, I would say check it out. So that's me. That's my brief review of Discovery. Obviously a very positive one, but it met all my expectations and exceeded them in some degree as well. And I can't wait for the next episode tomorrow night and to see Discovery and the main cast and the real beginning of the story. So with that in mind, and as I say, a great night on Tuesday night. Our next night is the 40s night next weekend. If anybody's around, you're welcome to join us. We'll have a 40s theme night. A lot of us will be in World War II gear and 40s outfits. It should be a great night. Plenty of swing and jazz, a couple of live performances, and finger food, the usual sort of stuff in our normal venue in the Teachers Club. You're all welcome to that. Our next cinema night is Blade Runner, and the 14th we'll be doing that in the IMAX in Cineworld. You're all welcome to that as well. So that's it for me. I love Discovery. May it live long.